What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome to the Warframe video. So today we have a lot of information to go over, and if there's any background noise, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about it. So, yeah, we have both the Helminth Subsume and full ability list and dev workshop to go over, and we've also got a mainline update on PC, which has actually quite a few changes in it. So we're going to go over those in order. Also, there is currently a double credit event going on. So if you get a credit booster, you can get 4 times credits. So I'm going to be farming Profit Taker later tonight on stream. So there you go. That's the setup. Let's get into it. And we're going to first go over the Helminth Subsume full ability list. And there's actually, it wasn't just like, oh, let's pick the bad one. No, they actually picked a bunch of really good abilities. So let's get into it. I'm going to read it pretty much verbatim here. Make sure you sub to the channel as always, guys. Please sub to the channel if you have not already for those daily video uploads. So, alright, what do we got here? So let's read this off. Dev post by Rebecca. The Helminth Dev Workshop. Tenno, the time has come to give us our comprehensive dev workshop on the Helminth Subsume system, formerly known as the Helminth Chrysalis system, which was a lot cooler of an idea, or name, rather. We reduced the name length for mouthfeel. The dev workshop is subject to change, but here is everything you need to know about the Helminth. We debuted this system at TennoCon 2020. So basically what happens is you sacrifice your non-prime Warframe to the back of your ship. There's a big frog back there now. He'll eat it over the course of a day, and then you'll get an ability you can put in other frames. 1 ability per frame. Okay, so expansion for the room in the back of your orbiter in the infested room. It allows you to remove Helminth Sys, but that's all changing. The Helminth system enables you to customize your Warframe by infusing new abilities in place of existing abilities. So how does this work? To participate in the Helminth, you must obtain the Helminth segment that's acquired from the Heart of Deimos, Entrati Syndicate, and is installed on your orbiter in the Helminth room to begin your Helminth journey. So you will need to rank up with the infested open world syndicate to get access to this. So that's interesting. So I wonder how high up in the tiers that will be. So you'll not have, apparently you won't have access to that right away, but who knows, maybe that will be enough rep on the first day to unlock it on the first day as well. So once ready, there are 2 things that the system offers. You can replace 1 ability per Warframe, and every Warframe can be subsumed to permanently provide 1 ability to Helminth. So yeah, you can't just get any ability you want. It's a curated list they've chosen. Who is this for? We consider this to be a customization system for very experienced Warframe players. Mastery rank 15 prerequisite. Oh, you have to be MR 15 to do this. Dang, okay. That's pretty high MR for most people. We do not intend to let newer players unlock this system. We intentionally place the segment deep into progression to ensure only experienced players could access the segment and begin the journey with Helminth. Okay, that's making it sound like it will be pretty high level with infested open world to get access to this. Okay. Well, at least we know now what are resources / secretions. Visually, every resource you've ever earned can be fed to Helminth. Your stockpiles have a new home. That's really good. I wanted a resource sink pretty badly. This feeding creates secretions, which allow you to utilize the ability, the Helminth ability customization. Helminth has a diverse appetite. Make sure you feed the Helminth resources that they want to eat for the best secretions. Isn't this lovely? I love these words. Your choices on what you fed the Helminth will determine its willingness to reward secretions. Change it up for the best. So basically, don't just feed it nanospores all day long. Feed it nanospores, then feed it argon crystals, then feed it like polymer bundles, and then like ferrite, and then do nanospores again. So like you don't want to just do that. Permanent ? Infused abilities are removed with the click of a button. They will stay within a given Warframe as long as you want to. So it's not permanent. Okay, you could have just said no. Subsuming a Warframe is permanent. Only subsumed Warframes you are sure you do not want to play with. Okay, so basically feed it like Warframes that you don't want to keep. So if you have if you really like Wisp, build a new Wisp, and you have like an Umbra form on normal Wisp, build a new Wisp and just feed that level 0 Wisp to the Helminth frog. Don't feed your Umbra form a Wisp unless you just really, really don't want to farm the Europa list anymore. You can deeply customize by only replacing abilities on certain configs. So yeah, example, like config A, B, C, like those are, okay, config A is my Eidolon fighting config. I'm going to put Volt Shock on that one. Config B is my Sanctuary Onslaught Volt build. I'm not going to put that ability on. I'm not going to switch the ability, or et cetera, et cetera. So you can just switch it per config, which is really nice. What does ranking the Helminth do? As you feed and use the Helminth system, you will rank up. Each rank unlocks something different, from a new power to more subsume slots. Max rank Helminth equals unlimited subsume slots. Oh, nice. If you get a max rank, you get unlimited slots. Make sure you progress through the ranks by regularly feeding Helminth, subsuming and fusing your Warframes. Alright, so here we're getting to the list of the abilities that the Helminth will give itself. So we have some unique abilities the Helminth will provide to you. These are subject to change before launch. Okay, the first one's called Empower. Increase the power strength of your next ability. That could be potentially pretty nice for getting really high power strength on Chroma. But once we go over some of the abilities they've chosen later in the list, you'll be like, okay, I'm never going to use this actually. Let's give Chroma something else. Energy munitions. Imbue your weapon with ammo efficiency. So infinite ammo, or basically endless magazine for your weapon after casting this ability. That's a cool one. So that's basically Arcane Pistolier built in. I believe that will have a cooldown, but that's still really cool. Infinite Energy Exorgist, Infinite Energy Toncore, blah blah blah. Infested Mobility increases your sprint and parkour speed. So I'm assuming that is going to be something you have to cast, and it will last for a duration, kind of like a mini Volt Speed, because Volt Speed will not be transferable. Marked for Death, stun an enemy. Next up, damage you deal to it will be dealt to all enemies around it. That's pretty cool. It's like the Kubrau mark ability. So it's pretty much exactly like that. You target an enemy, he is marked, you kill him, everyone around him takes that damage. That'll be really good with Garuda. Or like whoever, like anyone pretty much. Hit him in the head with a sniper shot, it's like an AoE sniper shot at that point. Rebuild shields, instantly restore shield. Really good with shield gating, although we saw this on the dev build, this had a cooldown, so that will be potentially not as broken as it looks. Per specificity, whatever the heck you say there. Your next hack will be automatic. That one's useless. You can just might as well remove that one. Companion heal. Heal your companion and call it to your side. I'm sure that could be interesting in some situations, but there's a new companion teleport mechanic they added this year, so that's not a big deal. And also, Pack Leader does exist. One melee hit and your companion is full health. Expedite Suffering. That's a brutal name. I like that one. Hit enemies in a cone. Affected enemies will have their bleed and toxin status removed, and their damage remaining dealt in a burst. Oh, okay. So you built. Well, that's kind of cool, actually. So it makes the slash and bleed, toxin procs on the enemies in a cone just disappear, and then it's an immediate burst of damage. I don't know if that's actually. This might be setting up for some big. We've talked about this in the past. They might be removing crit and toxin procs from the game. So basically, no double dipping on like craziness. So like a crit slash proc might not be a thing, and this is making me think that like because this is not really practical right now. It sounds cool, but we never need to actually have all of our slash procs dealt at one time. So this might be set up for potential nerfs in the future. Not to freak you out and make this a little bit negative, but some of the devs have said they've wanted to remove crit and status mixing together, especially with slash procs. So this is making me think that might be, yeah. All right. So those are all the abilities it's going to give. I'd say the really good ones. Energy Munitions, which gives you basically Arcane Pistolier. Potentially Empower, give you additional power strength. Mark for Death sounds really good, which will make it so it's like an AoE sniper shot. And then potentially, if they ever nerf stuff, this Expedite Suffering, but I hope they don't nerf stuff. What is Infusion? Infusion is the process of injecting a Warframe with an ability, whether it be one of Helminth's own or another Warframe. Every Warframe can receive one infused ability at any time. So you can play Shock on the fourth ability. So if you don't like Wisp Laser, like I don't like Wisp Laser, you can get rid of Wisp Laser for Volt 1 or whatever the heck you want to put there. In addition to Helminth's own abilities, you can subsume a Warframe to obtain one specific ability. Okay, we've gone with this. So basically, you feed the Warframe to the frog, and then you get that ability. You can switch it to other stuff on the Prime frames as well. All right, so here's the list. Let's get into this list. And get ready for some, like, what? Really? Lots of reallys are going to be going down here, and we're going to go over every ability in order. So, first one, Ash. Shuriken. And then, like I said, the augment mods do work on here, so you will get Seeking Shuriken on anyone if you choose to use Ash's ability, which is full armor removal, or it potentially can be full armor removal with just a little bit of strength. So that sounds pretty good. It also deals slash damage and is pretty easy to spam. So pretty good one there. But like when we go over some of these other ones, you can be like, I don't really know if I even want Seeking Shuriken right now. That would be good for like, actually Ash is just really good for disruption already. But if you can just put this on anyone, like maybe it will be even better. So that's a good one there. Nice grade right there. Now that next one, Atlas, Petrify. So his 3, the conal Petrify, turn enemies into rocks and stun them. That's gonna be the one that they give, and it will also that also means Orgaze Augment, which is a additional loot chance, which scales with power strength. That's gonna be available on everybody. So Yeah, that's going to be really good, and it's pretty much going to get rid of any reason for me to play Atlas, because I basically only play Atlas if I'm just like feel like playing him, or if it's like I need extra loot. So this will be really good. This might be like part of like some more meta farming of stuff. They've also, when we go over the patch notes for the update today, they also made so the blue boosters, they used to not work on Steel Essence. DE said sorry and gave everyone a blue booster, and now they work on Steel Essence. So this might actually help getting more Steel Essence as well. All right, Banshee given Silence, which is her third ability, a stun, and I think it like gives increased like finisher damage or something like that. I know the augment gives finisher damage, so that's like pretty good. That's really good actually. So yeah, you might consider that putting that one on some other frames as well. Just going to give you increased damage. Baruch, lull. That's going to be his sleep ability. I guess that's like the only one I could really choose for Baruch besides the other ones. And that's like okay. It's a pretty good CC ability, but I think that the other options are just too good to even take the Baruch one. So I'm going to move on past that pretty quickly. Endless Lullaby is like a it's just a really good CC ability, but I don't think it's going to be really worth running. Maybe you'll like it. Chroma, going to give Elemental Ward, which is his second ability. That is going to actually give some pretty big buffs. We're actually on Chroma right now. Let me switch over to the screen so we can take a look at what Chroma's 2 even does, because sometimes I forget what his 2 does. So, it changes with his energy color, I believe. So, I'm on Toxin Chroma right now. So, that's going to give us increased holster speed, reload speed, and status chance. Actually, it's going to be Chroma and its nearby allies are imbued. Okay, that's a team buff. And then you can use the Augment mod to give the buff will be like it will linger on your teammates, and you can change the energy. I don't know how this will work with different energy colors. How do you check this stuff again? Okay, I'm not going to mess with that, but basically it can do some other stuff too. So that's potentially pretty cool. I'm happy it's not just his terrible dragon breath, which is not really a dragon breath at all. So good one there. Definitely happy about that. We're not going to spend too much time on these because it will be more fun when it actually comes out. Ember, Fire Blast, so it's our 3. The like fire blast outwards. It's also going to give you Healing Flame. This can, I'm pretty sure this can actually remove enemy armor when you're playing Ember because it scales with her fire meter. And I wonder what it will do when you don't have the fire meter at other frames. So, reading the description right now, it's going to give armor reduction. Okay, so it's, without mods, it's actually 50 to 100%. So I believe that will scale with strength. So that's pretty good. That actually might be a decent nuke for frames like Harrow that don't actually have a nuking ability already. So potentially can be pretty good. And there's the augment mod Healing Flames, that the amount of enemies you hit with the flame, it will heal. So pretty good stuff there. There's actually a second augment mod for this called Purifying Flames, I believe, where you remove status effects and give status immunity, but they don't actually mention that here. So I wonder if they forgot about it. Equinox is going to give Rest in Rage, which is going to be the that's actually the sleep ability on Equinox, so that's pretty broken sounding. Okay, everyone can just perma sleep everybody. Okay, and then I don't know how we'll switch between the two, because Rage actually makes the enemies run faster and take more damage. So that actually sounds pretty broken, so yay. That's good stuff there. Everyone's asleep. Everyone can take finishers. It's a big area of effect, and you can even use the augment mod when you kill an enemy. It transfers the sleep or the rage to other enemies around. So, you think the game is broken right now? Just you wait till the 25th, guys. It's going to be absurd. So, yeah, moving on. We're only in the E's so far. Excalibur, Radial Blind. So that's a good one. His AoE Blind, going to make enemies take finishers, take stealth damage. Really, really good stuff there. So, not much to talk about there. Thankfully, it's not slash dash. Good job, DE. Good job, Pablo. We got Frost with his Ice Wave, which is basically not a huge deal, but it's actually a pretty decent ability, I guess. And Ice Wave Impotence will actually make it so enemies will be frozen or slowed down as they're walking through the Ice Wave. Okay, so just to make sure this video is not going to be an hour long, we're actually not going to go over the patch notes today for the main line. But basically, to go over some things really quickly, we'll go over some things really quickly, okay? I don't want to spend all of, like, an entire hour on this stuff, so it's not a big deal, too. Okay, moving on. We have Gara, so it's beneath her 3 Spectrophage, which is probably her worst ability. But to be fair, her other abilities are really, really good. So, probably one of the most underwhelming ones in the entire list, to be honest. But, you know, maybe if you like the way the ability looks, it actually hit the augment mod for it, Spectro Siphon, can make you give energy orbs. It's a CC ability, can deal some really light damage. Maybe you'll like it. I'm going to just go ahead and move on past that one. Another really, really not great ability is Garuda's Blood Altar. This is just like a much worse version of Wisp 1, and I don't like this ability at all. It's probably Garuda's worst ability, but, you know, it does give healing to any frame, which you might like. So there you go. Gauss is going to give Thermal Sunder, which is his 3. A pretty decent nuking ability for low levels. It works through walls. You can cast it pretty quickly. And, you know what, I think that's a pretty good one for Gauss to give. Unfortunately, it's not the running fast ability, which would be fun on Volt, but, you know, we get what we get. I'm not sure how this will actually scale when he has no meter on other frames, but we will see on the 25th. Grendel is going to give Nourish, which is going to be his 2nd ability, I believe. So it's not the Eat attack. Okay, so apparently you don't need to actually, need to eat enemies with other frames to get this buff from Grendel's ability. So let's take a look at what Nourish does, because sometimes I forget as well. Alright, so it's only going to keep the heal and the Nourish Strike. Alright, whatever that means. So, I believe this Nourish Strike is going to make it so you're actually going to get additional toxin damage, I believe. Yeah, you get additional toxin damage mod on your build. So, for example, if you had a base electric build, it would become a corrosive build, because it just throws an extra toxin mod on there. Seems like it could scale really well with strength, so keep an eye out on that one. It's also going to heal you as well. So, you know, it might be a pretty good one. Definitely, probably not worth refarming Grendel for, but it's, you know, it's pretty good. All right, we've got Harrow. Harrow is going to be his 1 called Condemn. And that's going to basically make us you chain the enemies up. They're stunned, they're really easy to get headshots on, and you restore shields to yourself. So that's going to be really, really good on frames like Hildren, but pretty much every frame that will be good on. And the amount of shields you get does scale with strength. So you're going to be able to get like an entire shield bar from like chaining like 2 or 3 enemies like, with a decent amount of strength in the build. So that's a really good one to pick. And, you know, if they picked the other thing for Harrow, it probably would have been too broken anyway. So I'm pretty happy with that one. Infinite shield getting is always good with me, as well as really good CC. The CC does work on lots of enemies it probably shouldn't work on, like bosses. So, hooray. Moving on to Hildren. So this one on Hildren's a little bit weird because it's Pillage, which is their 2. And it's going to drain 50 energy instead of 50 shields. So what that'll do is that's good armor removal for every frame, also good shield removal. It will also, when the wave comes back, it gives you shield and, it gives you shield back depending on how many enemies you hit. But the weird thing is they're actually giving us Blazing Pillage, which is her augment mod. And the only way this augment mod works is if her 3 and her 2 hit an enemy, and you're not going to be able to get your 3, the Hildren 3 on other frames. So I'm confused what they're doing there, but either way, this should be a pretty decent one. 50 energy is not too bad for this ability, so yeah, keep an eye on this one being a very, very good choice. Makes you really tanky. I might actually try this on lots of frames, to be honest. All right. Hydra, Tempest, Barrage, so it's its Cannonball attack. Who could have called that one? And it's going to have Corroding Barrage Augment mod, which gives you Corrosive procs. This is another one of them that's kind of underwhelming. This ability does ragdoll the enemies quite a bit, so, you know, Hydra doesn't have 2 phenomenal abilities anyway, but keep an eye out on some other frames abilities that you'll put on Hydra to make things a little bit crazy. I'm looking at you, Nidus, down the list. Anaros, Pocket Sand. Gonna get Pocket Sand on all frames. So that's a really good stun. Sets enemies up for finishers. Although I do think that Equinox's Rest ability will be better than this. We will see. Desiccation's Curse basically makes you get a Sand Soldier when you kill an enemy stunned by Pocket Sand. So pretty good one there. Now here we go. This seems like it is not very well thought out at all, but here's Ivara. Of course, you can't really pick anything else with Ivara, so Ivara is going to give Quiver, which is her first ability. So, yeah. You're going to get, this is going to be the invisibility ability right here. So tap Cloak, hold Noise, so you only get Cloak and Noise, but that's invisibility, okay? The Noise arrow is trash, so you just tap the ability. Augments only affect... Oh, wait, you get the dash wire too? Wait. Hold Noise. I don't know what that means. But pretty much, if they give us all 4 of the dash wires for Ivara, that empowered dash wire augment is busted. It's just ridiculous. So, yeah, this might actually be the best one on the entire list, honestly. Because it will give you Invis on any frame. It gives you crazy crit damage with the augment. Do we have the... Yeah, we have the augment mod equipped here. Okay, so let's just quickly put it on the screen right here. This mod right here, Empowered Quiver. So it's going to give status immunity to people in the cloaking bubble. It's also going to give you crit damage when you're on the dash wire, and that also works for your teammates, and it scales with strength. So when teammates are on my dash wire with this build, 261 increased critical damage. Yeah, and you could put that on anybody. And you're going to be able to go invisible with anybody. And if they give us a sleep arrow too, I mean, you don't. I was saying that Equinox's Rest would be OP. No, this is the one right here. This is the ability right here. Everyone is Ivara now. So, yeah. The only thing that's a little bit annoying is like you have to actually, you can't normally get yourself invisible for too long. You have to actually be in the bubble. But I think we're going to be quite all right just walking into the bubble to go invis. So keep an eye on this one potentially getting changed because it's definitely the most broken one on the entire list. So hooray. All right, Korra and Snare, that's your second ability. Going to pull the enemies into one area and make it easier for you to kill them. It does also work through walls, but the problem with this one is that it actually requires a target in the first place. You need to have an enemy on your cursor and then hit the button, and then all the enemies around it will get pulled in. Still a really, really good ability, and keep an eye on this one being one of the top picked options as well. All right, Limbo. So it's going to be Banish on Limbos. That's his first ability. Basically an AoE, putting enemies into the rift, putting teammates into the rift, putting objectives into the rift. So it's also got an augment mod called Rift Haven, where it will actually heal allies that are put into the rift. So look at this one potentially being good in Eidolon fights, potentially being pretty abusable in lots of situations. And if you want to take things out of the rift, they're actually adding a new functionality to this, where you can hold down the ability to take everything out of the rift, or let enemies out of the rift. So that sounds really, really good. So yeah, keep an eye on Limbo being a pretty good option as well for this Helminth Subsume. Of course, Ivara is definitely going to be #1, but, you know, that is really, really... Don't underestimate Limbo's Banish on this list, all right? Loki Decoy, absolute trash, although there's Savior Decoy. What does that one do again? I actually forgot what Savior Decoy does. Let's actually take a look. Now, Savior Decoy might be broken if we can actually do anything decent with that. All right, let me read it. Savior Decoy. If Loki takes fatal damage, Decoy absorbs the damage and swaps locations. Also increases casting speed of Decoy. I mean, there's probably some abusable infinite invulnerability thing with Savior Decoy, so keep an eye on that being kind of broken, but then again, like, you know, that sounds pretty gimmicky. All right, Mag's going to be Pull. We already knew that. Greedy Pull might be good on Necros, but then again, Necros has so many options now, including Ivara's Dash Wire. All right, Mesa's going to be Shooting Gallery. That's her 2, so that's going to be a nice little buff and stun for everybody. Nice choice there. All right, guys, here we go. Here's one of the broken ones. Or not broken, but really, really strong. Mirage is going to give Eclipse. That's her 3rd ability, which gives you either damage reduction up to, I think, 95% in the darkness, and it's going to give you a lot of damage buff in the light. So with this random build I have equipped right now, let's see how much Mirage buff this would give. And just keep in mind, this also has an augment mod that will make it share to your teammates. So with this build, it lasts for 61 seconds. It's a 600% damage increase, and it's a 95% damage reduction. Yeah, that could go on Chroma. That can go on Mesa. That can go on pretty much everyone. So, yeah, I'm happy it's not Sleight of Hands. This might be the meta one right here. Make anyone have crazy weapon damage. Yeah, I was saying, like, you think the game is broken right now, you just wait until the 25th. 600% damage on everybody? All right, dude, that works with me. I'll give my Chroma with his 3 buff, Mirage buff as well. That works. All right, Necros, Creeping Terrify, and Terrified. Actually, a pretty decent ability. Creeping Terrify is a good augment, but, you know, there's so many good options. I don't think people will really clamoring for this one too much. Neja, Firewalker, increased speed. Pretty good stuff there. All right, here's one of my favorite ones. Nidus and Larva. So Nidus' Larva ability is the one that pulls all the enemies into one spot, and unlike Korra's ability, it doesn't actually require a target. So you can just throw it on the ground, all the enemies in the area. Of course, now this one doesn't work through walls, so you might actually have a problem with that one, but still, like, it scales really well as strength, or not strength, range. It's got an okay augment mod, Larva Burst, that like explodes in toxin damage. Yeah, I think I'll be using this one on like lots of frames, like Garuda. That will be fun. On Mag with the Mag bubble, put the bubble on the ground, put Nidus 2 in the bubble, and everyone's pulling into the bubble and everyone's dead. So yeah, really, really crazy there, because sometimes the enemies don't run into the bubble, so that could be ridiculous. Like, honestly, the possibilities are endless with this one, and this is probably the ability I'm most excited. Like, the first one I'll feed to the Helminth is this one, so hooray. All right, and then Nova's going to give Null Sarch as her first ability. Now, that is some damage reduction, so if you are just looking for, like, turn your brain off, tank mode, Anaros, this scales with power duration, and it will give you damage reduction, and it stacks adaptation, so yeah, that will be good. The augment mod's not too big of a deal, so yeah, with my random build right now, it's 5% damage reduction per star, and I have like this random build on with 16 stars, so that's going to be like quite a bit of damage reduction. So you throw that on top of adaptation, your Naros will never die. Here's the problem, though. This thing, the stars will actually attack enemies if you have too much range. You want really low range if you're trying to keep the damage reduction going for a while here. And you cannot recast it until the stars are all gone. So, you know, there's definitely going to be some cool way to use this, and I'm excited for that one, too. All right. Nyx Mind... Oh, it's not Psychic Bolts, it's Mind Control. That's at least... I mean... Okay, well... It's not Psychic Bolts, but then again, if you want to remove enemy armor and shields, you got Hildren, Pillage, you got Ash Seeking Shuriken. So it's going to be Mind Freak. Potentially could be kind of fun in some situations, because you'll just have like a super buffed up enemy you've mind controlled and give them a bunch of damage. So potentially good. Alright, new Eidolon meta right here. Oberon Smite Infusion. So that's going to be, basically, it's going to give all your teammates additional radiation damage on their weapons and things of that nature. So... yeah, that's going to pretty much be used in every Eidolon fight because the Eidolons are weak to radiation. So yeah, keep an eye on that one being basically used in almost every Eidolon fight. And it scales with strength. Like, it's pretty good. So definitely keep an eye on that one. You are going to need the Augmod to make that happen. And also, the Smite ability itself, it actually does do some decent damage against certain enemies because it does percent health damage. So as with my random build right now, I get 145% additional radiation damage. And radiation is a combined element, so that's actually pretty decent. And of course, you can jam a lot more strength than I currently have on here and get even more damage. So yeah, nice choice there. I'm happy it's not the carpet, so good stuff. All right, moving on to Octavia, we have Resonator, which is going to be her second ability. So that's actually, like, that's probably Octavia's worst ability, but then again, like, all of her abilities are pretty OP. So, yeah, and then the augment mod for it's going to make you control the Resonator and put it in certain spots. So for that ability, it's going to charm the enemies and make them follow the little ball around and not attack you. So potentially pretty good. I'm sure that will be, if you actually want to use this ability, it will be a really, really good one. So yeah, isn't this better than what you thought was going to happen? All right, Protea's going to give Dispensary, which is her 3, which gives energy, health, and ammo. So if you want to go full support like Wisp build, you can replace Wisp 4 with Protea Dispensary, and now you are the ultimate support, giving health, energy, shocking motes, attack speed. Like, dude, Wisp with this is going to be insane. And it also scales with strength, and you usually build quite a bit of strength on Wisp. So keep an eye on this one being also one of the meta choices for support. Not for damage, of course, for support. Revenant Reeve, yikes. Reeve is not very good when it's not combined with, or without being combined with his Enthrall. So yeah, this will be completely irrelevant as far as I'm aware. Rhino is going to give Roar. So yeah, Roar on any team or any frame. That's really good. Roar also buffs the base damage of abilities. If you didn't know this, so you can play, if you want to replace ability on Saren, you can actually Roar on Saren and have like increased Saren spores, increased miasma. With my build on Rhino right now, I have 150% increased Roar. I think that's with Blind Rage on the build and stuff. So yeah, it's a 50% damage, 50% at base, and you can get higher than this too. So, like I said, 25th game will be 10 times more broken than it currently is. Hooray, hooray! Saren, Molt, really good ability with shield gating, although like everything else is so much more crazy, like I don't think we'll be really running that one. Alright, Titania is going to give Spellbind, which is going to be, I believe, her 1. And if that's the case, let me take a look at Titania. I always forget what the names of Titania's abilities are. Okay, so Spellbind is going to be, it is her 1, so that is Status Immunity on any frame. It's also going to, it stuns enemies as well. So yeah, Status Immunity. That might be really good. You might not even need to bring Harrow anymore for an Eidolon fight. Or then again, like maybe you will still bring Harrow just because you can. That's really good. That will be really, really good for Eidolon fights and basically any mission. Status Immunity is a very powerful effect in this game, especially when there's like annoying things like magnetic procs. So yeah, look at that one being a good one. Alright, Pool of Life. Base ability is now changed. Now does a small heal over time in range if you hit an enemy. Okay, so it no longer multiplies the enemy's health by a bunch. So people are saying like, oh, we're gonna actually be able to abuse Equinox's 4 with the Well of Life and just get crazy damage. They probably read that comment on Reddit. Thank you. And they've changed how Well of Life works. So now it's gonna heal teammates over a large range. So there you go. Well of Life is pretty terrible, but maybe this one will be decent. Although healing is not. What? Valkyr's giving Warcry? Oh my god! Dude, it's not Spider-Man. It's not paralysis. Oh my god. An Eternal War on any frame? If you don't have the Eternal War augment mod, go buy it right now. Oh my god. That's so good. Dude. Okay, there's literally no reason to play Valkyrie anymore. Okay, so what Eternal War does, if you didn't know, is it's actually... You basically get, because the base ability gives you an armor and attack speed increase for melee weapons, and if you kill an enemy with the Eternal War augment mod, it extends the duration of the ability. So you have permanent, with this build, 121% attack speed and increased armor. And like, if you just if you kill one enemy every 3 seconds, you will permanently have it. And it works on your teammates too if they're in the initial cast. So, oh my god. Well, yeah, there's pretty much no reason to play Valkyrie anymore, but that's still really, really good. Alright, nice. Lobon is Tesla Nervos. That's his little roller balls that shock people, so that's pretty good. The augment's pretty decent too. So keep an eye on that one being pretty strong. We already knew about Shock Trooper. It's been talked to death at this point. Wisp Breach Surge. So if you didn't know what Breach Surge is, it's Wisp's third ability, and it will stun enemies in an area. It will also create these little ghost things. If you fight the enemies in the area, that will hunt down other enemies and hurt them really bad. So really, really strong ability there. You can put that on any frame now. So keep an eye out on that one being one of the most meta choices as well. So there's definitely lots of good options here. We've got Ivara, we've got Wisp, we've got Nidus, we've got Valkyrie. Like, wow. Wukong is going to give Defy. It's his third ability that gives you increased armor once it's finished. Zaku, the new frame, I think Zata's Whisper is what he's going to give. I believe that's the one that gives you void damage on all attacks. So that potentially could be pretty decent, although it's apparently not going to work on the Eidolons, so keep that in mind. And then the last ability is Zephyr Airburst. Based ability, not buff. You hold down the button to tap it to pull all enemies into a wind vortex. So that means it's going to be like a mini Nidus 2, I guess. So potentially nice, I guess. All right, moving on here to the end of this crap. That list was God's here, wasn't it? Since you can remove an ability at any time to click a button, you'll be able to safely experiment with many creative combinations. For example, if you replace Grendel's Nourish, it doesn't really work, so you're going to probably try and change that. All right. What about damage buffing abilities? As you can see, we have 2 abilities that increase damage, Mirage's Eclipse and Rhino's Roar. We are creating a special case for these abilities when infused on Warframes with similar abilities. Like Chroma, what are we reading right here? When you infuse these, you'll receive a prompt that you can only have 1 damage of buffing. Oh, come on! You can't put it on Chroma, and you can't put it on Rhino. Darn. Okay, well, you can still put it on Mesa. You can't put it on Octavia, either. Okay. Alright. It does not apply to the other 30-plus Warframes. I wonder if it's going to allow... I mean, you're going to just replace Mesas, too, with Mirage 3, of course. Okay, so you can't double-stack damage buffing abilities. It's still going to be broken, but darn. What do we have here? Oh, that looked gross. What exactly is going on here with the Warframe Subsume? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so... they will live on a lotus flower when the frog eats them. That's kind of fun. So you get a flower every time you feed a Helminth, or you feed a Warframe to the Helminth. All right. It's a permanent name. You can rename it. You can rename your Helminth. Nice. All right, guys. Keep that in mind. Is Helminth a dog, or cat, or a person? You'll have to find out. All right, so that's the dev workshop on the Helminth. Dang, that was a lot of stuff, and they picked some really, really crazy abilities. Some ones that definitely stick out: Atlas Petrified, Banshee Silence, Chroma Elemental Ward, Equinox Sleep, Excalibur Radio Blind. A lot of these, for sure. Harrow Condemn, Hildren Pillage, Ivara. I'd say the most broken one is Ivara Quiver, because the augment mod, too. Korra, blah, blah. There's, like, plenty, guys. Let's quickly go over this main line just so I can get it off my chest. All right, Derelicts have been removed and moved to Deimos. Not too big of a deal there. You don't need the mission keys anymore. The UI is reskinned. It looks very different now, so keep that in mind. Big change to all this stuff. Zephyr Airburst got changed. Trinity Wall of Life, we already went over those. Cold stats effect is increased to 6 seconds on frost abilities. That's good. Artemis Bow got a status chance buff, 20% per projectile. That might be pretty crazy. All right, general changes. Oh, one thing they did change is that there's that video we made on like the Batacore like a month ago. They actually removed it, so there's not 4 charges anymore for the Batacore. It's back to 3. Rip. All right. Anything worth reading here? The video's already like 40 minutes long, so we should probably just move on here. All right, so that's it for the video, guys. Hopefully you found it helpful. There's definitely going to be some like little annoying changes in here, I'm sure. Fixed ability to teleport Excavators with Nova's Wormhole. Fixed the Stug's alt fire doing self-damage. Okay, that's some pretty big ones in there, so I'll definitely take a look at this, and if we need to make another video on this, I will in the future. But either way, guys, hopefully you found this helpful. Thanks for watching the video, as always. I hope it was entertaining, and yeah, definitely keep an eye out on the 25th for some ridiculous builds. Let's actually go take a quick look at the Helminth dude back here. Can we get in there without Nidus? We gotta be Nidus. He is actually on the ship, apparently. And yeah, I will see you guys on the 25th. Actually, I'll see you tomorrow with another video, because we do daily uploads on the channel. Make sure you sub if you haven't already. Oh, there he is. Can you do anything? You can jump inside of him. I am now the frog. Alright, guys. I'll talk to you next time. Hopefully you found it fun and helpful. And yeah, take it easy, guys. Peace.